Let's talk for a minute about the different types of founders there are. So there's typically, I would say, like three types of founders. One are the idea founders, the other are the technical founders, and the third are the get stuff done founders. I am in bucket three. Now, none of these are better than another, and honestly, you kind of need all of them to find that perfect synergy. But what you have to keep in mind is what are the problems of the different founder types. So with problem number one, which is our idea founder, the idea founders tend to get very stuck and are unable to make progress. They know they have this idea, they know it's a great idea, and they sort of have the long-term vision of what it could be, but they really struggle to put down their heads and start executing and making progress on the idea. Oftentimes it feels like the idea is so big and overwhelming that there's too many things to do and they don't know where to start, and they feel like they don't have the skill set to start. But oftentimes that's not true. Oftentimes it's simple things and it's just a matter of breaking them down to be able to say, here's one thing to focus on this week. And you just do that one thing and don't stress about anything else. Then here's something to focus on next week and that one thing. And if you can break it down and get it to be very bite-sized and less overwhelming for those founders, then they'll find that they're able to start making more progress. The problem with founder group number two, which are the technical founders, are they have one superpower that the other two groups don't have, and that's their ability to write code and actually develop the application or product that you want to build. That alone can save hundreds of thousands of dollars over the years, if not millions of dollars over the years. That skill set is so valuable, and what happens when a non-technical founder starts a tech company is, either they'll try to develop on the cheap offshore and it will just be a disaster, or they'll blow through so much capital trying to pay US-based resources that they run out of cash too quickly. I did both of those things, by the way, so I'll share more about that later. But the big problem is that technical founders tend to lack the storytelling ability that's needed for fundraising, and even just to sell, right? So the technical founders can build a solution, but they often struggle with having that true empathy for the end user and being able to sell and message the product and application in a way that's digestible to investors, to other founders, and to whoever your end users are. So technical founders could build a phenomenal application, but nobody might buy it because they tend to not be very good at selling, and they tend to struggle with fundraising and telling their story in an easy to understand way. The third founder group, my lovely founder group of the just execution, get stuff done founders, I think in some ways can be a very strong founder group because we can make a lot of progress in a short amount of time. I would say the problem is we don't overanalyze things, and we don't think about everything that could go wrong, and we don't think about everything we need in place to get started, and we just sort of go. And the situation that creates is then you do make a lot of mistakes. You might burn through capital more quickly. You might realize things too late because you were so busy making progress that you just didn't take the time to analyze something enough, plan it out enough, think about, okay, should I take, what are all the pros and cons of this path versus this path versus this path? You're just sort of quickly picking a path in your head as you go and kind of cleaning up the mess later. And sometimes that's okay if the mess is able to be cleaned up. But if you get into a position where you can't clean up all of your mess, or you can't do it quickly enough, then that can be a real problem. So those are really the three different types of founder groups that there are. So first, I want you to think about which one you fall into.